Gundam back.
Oh, you know what it is? I think it's Super Defenders.
That actually does sound vaguely familiar.
No, it's Superior Defender Gundam Force.
That actually does sound kind of familiar now that you mention it.
Oh, yes, it is. It is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I wiped that from my memory, I think.
2003 North America Cartoon Network. That's about the time when I came around the States from Japan after I moved again. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about that. There's a lot of shows I probably forgot that actually were on Toonami at some point.
I think soon after the 52nd episode when this finished, Gundam Seed started airing here.
Okay, was that on Toonami?
Yep.
Really?
It was during Bleach.
Oh, the Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. When
Wow.
still Tom,
the
guy, was still there, and then when
I was never allowed to be up late enough to watch that back then. So, I did not realize that was on Toonami.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, that was right before Toonami flopped, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right before it.
Right before it went under.
Oh man, I'm reading the synopsis.
Seed brought around the destruction of Toonami. Curse you, Seed! But it's okay because
it wasn't that bad. Like the dub for Seed wasn't bad. I actually bought the first season.
Yeah.
The DVD box set when it came out.
Yeah.
Then I noticed it was the second part, which was the better part.
Yeah. I can't bash Seed too much because I've seen a couple of the episodes, and then again, my exposure to it's been through video games where the story probably isn't quite the same. So it's my experience with it is more from hearsay from others, and while people bash it, I haven't seen it, so I can't really profess my opinion. But we're about to hit the 45-minute mark. Mm-hmm. That is incredible.
Yes, it is. I mean,
wow.
I was thinking just first off stopping at 30, but we keep on going. I mean, we got stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, why not?
I mean, we'll make it a 4-part special because YouTube's evil like that.
This is true.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. In the future, I'm gonna edit these a little bit later on.
This is our pilot episode. We can do what we want. Mm-hmm. We'll establish our protocols and our programs and stuff.
Right.
But
later on, like I said, today we're talking about our favorite hobbies a little bit. We're touching up on that. We touched upon video games, definitely. We are more of the retro generation, or the end of that retro generation. Yeah. Compared to what's going on nowadays called, Skylanders? What?
I have heard of Skylanders. I know the scary thing is that there are actually people our age who follow it. And I say scary, I don't mean to offend anyone. It's just, I don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I sell them at a retail store. Mm-hmm. And they are the game concept is great. If they were out when we were kids, my parents' money would have been non-existent. They're so expensive. They're roughly $10 to $15 a pop.
Oh, and that's after getting the main game.
Right, the main game part is roughly $80. Roughly.
Wow. All right.
And,
well,
I envy the kids nowadays. With the Christmas gifts,
Although I can't complain. I got a number of Beyblades when I was a child.
Oh God!
I still have them down in my basement.
I think I have few in my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know where
every once in a while I'll look down there oh yeah, look at this. There's got to be 20 of them down there at least.
I mean, what else?
With stadiums and special magnets and man.
Our generation, we were the cheap ones. I think. I mean, Pokemon cards.
You think we were cheap?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
$5 a card? And then we were satisfied with what's inside, and we always get one shiny. Mm-hmm. And then we're all right, trade.
Yeah.
Compared to nowadays, kids, they're more, $10 a pop. And it's just one thing. Now, granted, it does interact with the video game, but then once you're done with the character, what? You sell them on eBay? Literally, this kid told me how to actually sell it better on eBay. He said you don't have to you keep it in the seal because you can actually just put it on the little thing and it'll just read it. After you're done with the character and getting all the achievements for it to whatever game system, you just sell it on eBay for double the price you got.
And you haven't even opened it.
Right. And this is a 5-year-old telling me how to do this. I'm oh, that's scary.
That boy is going to be a powerful business executive someday.
And whoever the mom was then, you did a good job bringing that up.
Yeah, really.
Bringing that kid up.
That is some intelligence right there. That's impressive. Yeah, going back to the trading card game thing real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was so sad when they knocked it down. I think originally it was 11 cards per pack, and then they knocked it down to like 9 with Yu-Gi-Oh, and then Pokemon followed suit, and I was just so sad. It's like, man, come on. And then Yu-Gi-Oh with the different rarities.
Yeah,
it's like, no, it's not always a shiny. Sorry.
No, it's not.
But then at the same time, that made it more interesting. Because it's like, oh yeah, you actually have a rare card. Like, oh goody.
Now, did you know, in the back of the wrappers, like this I remember reading.
Oh,
like,
I remember hearing about these tricks.
Is depending on how the plastic wrap it's wrapped, you can tell what's what. So, I'm pretty sure some people watch Lucky Star, and there's a episode where the main character, the blue chick, who's apparently, when it came out, it was my age. She's like 17 or 18 back in the day. Okay. She's like a midget.
Yeah,
she's a legal midget, but apparently that's normal size in Japan. Apparently,
stereotypes.
Hey, mine as well. I mean, I'm pretty open about that, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I'm racially fair to everyone else, because that's the best way to say it.
But you're critical of your own people.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Gotcha.
I'm judgmental. But going back, that whole, that one episode basically talked about how this toy thing, and back in Japan, to get toys and action figures at the same time, you look at the back of the box to see what you can get. So,
right.
And they usually make these things so it's random, so you don't know what it is. But there's a way, actually, there's a code on the bottom, and different, like, barcodes
mean different things.
Right, so same thing with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards back in the day.
Yeah.
So it was like 9 times out of 10 I did that. I always get the shiny I wanted. Nice. I actually got one shiny that's like really good.
Cool.
Yu-Gi-Oh was a little bit harder because there was the ultimate, super, and rare.
Yeah.
And then there's Digimon. Digimon tried the trading card game.
Digimon cards.
I have them. I still have them.
I don't know where all mine went. I've got 1 or 2 just laying around my room randomly. I know I had a bunch of them. I don't know where they wound up. If I gave them away or sold them or what. I do still have all my Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards though. My Pokemon cards are all in my closet. My Yu-Gi-Oh cards are right here on my my bookcase next to me.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I like to. They're fun to pull out and look at.
Yeah,
they really are.
Like I think
it's nostalgic.
Yeah, right. It's that factor, nostalgic factor of. I used to collect these. I used to actually fight for this car on the playground.
Oh yeah, like we got intense. Sometimes it was cutthroat.
Like what was it? It wasn't like during my elementary school. I felt that was like the drug.
Like who needs cocaine? We've got Pokemon.
Yeah, is that what they're calling it nowadays?
Yes, as a matter of fact, they are.
Like in my elementary school, Pokemon cards got banned.
Same here
because
it was distracting.
Well, it wasn't really that. Literally, the teacher said, "Oh, this is gonna promote drug."
That's interesting. That's not the rationale I heard at my elementary school. My elementary school was literally it's too distracting. We've there's kids in the back of the class trading Pokemon cards when they're supposed to be learning.
Wow, that's. But you probably that transaction. I call it a transaction because trading is a transaction.
Well, you learn like business and stuff.
You learn more from that than learning how to read A to B.
I guarantee you learn more from playing Pokemon than you did in any school really. Like, any public school, I should say.
Well, I mean, by now, I'm pretty sure it's a little bit better. But compared to back then...
I'm very prejudiced against public schooling, though, because I was homeschooled for years. And if I didn't have to go back to public school just because my mom taught me, if I hadn't had to go back to public school just because my mom had given me the extent of her knowledge that she could, and so I had to go back just for, more advanced classes and stuff... I never would have. It's such a smothering environment. But that is also a topic. We could spend a whole podcast just talking about that.
That is, definitely.
So, because I can go on and on. I've done papers and reports and speeches, so I won't bore you all with that. Although I'm sure there's people out there in the audience right now going, yeah, public school, yeah, down with the system, yeah. We'll talk about that.
Definitely.
We will get to that.
I mean,
so
for me...
hang on to the edge of your seats.
I mean, I like I said, I move... back and forth from Japan and here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you got to have an interesting perspective with that.
oh my god.
Because that's that's something actually that's a good question I can bring up. Do the stereotypes of Japanese schooling, like in anime and in the mindsets of people, actually match up to what they are in reality?
Now here's the thing. There is a level of viewpoint, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to Japan the second time, I lived there for 3 years. That was my 5th grade to beginning of 8th grade.
Okay.
I got sent to a Catholic school. I went to an international school.
Ooh,
and
interesting.
You know, and the religious factor for me, I'm actually Buddhist.
Yeah.
That
Which is
was
always so
interesting.
interesting.
It was. And most of my friends then were all either Shinto Buddhist or whatnot. The reason why they got put in that school is one, whatever father or parents' business, they're paying the business is paying the school. It's a private school.
Exactly.
And it was so weird though. Like it was very different because you get every time you have to say the morning prayer. I was like, that was really weird because in the religious act, like for me, you don't really do that. Other thing, I had a British English teacher who screwed me over when I came over to.
Because of the way you learned over there,
right? Because eraser over there in British English is called rubber. And when I was taking a test, I forgot the rubber, and I asked this I think it was a hot, sexy teacher. Like I'm serious. One of my teachers back in 8th grade were really hot, and I asked her, "Can I borrow a rubber?" Everyone stopped like in my class stopped what they were doing. Like I think it was a test. They cracked up, and I'm like, "What? Isn't this?"
The old Brits with their old sayings that Americans like to make fun of, but that honestly are just as good. But yeah,
like
I
was brought into that. But the stereotypical of school-wise that you see in animations and all that.
Like the hardcore, all the uniforms, and it's like...
Oh, I had a uniform.
Yeah.
Mine was actually a suit with a stupid, I wouldn't really say stupid. It was really cool, though.
Like a lapel type deal, or...
It was like a gray suit, and I had the red tie and dress shirt, and the girls wore, skirts. That was, that looked like...
longer skirts,
Not really long. They were actually... They were probably kind of folding it to make it shorter, but it was knee height, short skirts, and they also had the vest. We actually had to wear a badge,
really,
like a school badge, like a school emblem badge
to indicate where you're from and where you're supposed to be and stuff. Okay,
that school back then, oh my god, school etiquette. I hated that. It was so tempting to. It was on a hill.
Okay.
I don't want to really go specific because then they'll be like, "Oh, this kid
rada, yeah."
But it was on a hill in Japan, and there's also Chinatown there, so this will kind of pinpoint where it is exactly, for those people who know what I'm talking about. So there's also that Chinatown area. You get the best food ever. I was so tempted to just skip class sometimes and just go there.
Okay.
And then every time I come back from home, I'm always late, saying I'm at a tutor or something. No, I'm actually at arcades late with friends, playing that till 8 o'clock, and then I get yelled at.
Yeah. Yeah, but what student can well, okay, I shouldn't say that because I know actually quite a few, but it seems like a lot of students would share that type of story with you.
Right.
But we're actually coming up to the hour mark. I'm thinking. Do you wanna finish up? Do you think, or
I think we should.
Yeah.